One of the hardest things when it comes to collecting video games is physically collecting those games. Some games are really expensive, some are hard to find, and some are just obscure. That's why I'm thankful for the team over at Retrobit that keeps bringing great games from the past into the present, so those who may have missed out originally now have a chance to enjoy them. Now, in 2022, they announced Battletoads Double Dragon for the NES. If you haven't checked out our review of this, I'll have it linked for you in the upper corner here for you. And it's a great game. It plays great, it looks great, it sounds great. It is an accurate reproduction of the original. Now, shortly after this started shipping, they actually announced that they were coming out with the Super Nintendo version of it. A lot of the same things that have gone into this have gone into this as well, and there are variants available for the Super Nintendo over in Europe and the Super Famicom. Now, this is a game I actually had, and then I recently sold it to my good friend Thor. Make sure you check out his channel. I'll have it linked down below in the description. I want to check this out. I want to see how it comes out of the box, how it plays, how it sounds. Let's take a closer look. So one of the really cool things about this box is the fact that it comes with a plastic shroud around it to help protect it. That's great for the collectors. It's terrible for when you're trying to film because look at all the glare. Yeah, so let's go ahead. We are going to remove this from this case. There's just a bit of tape on the side. Got me a new X-Acto knife. Tom from Do You Nerd, you're not allowed to steal this one. Can't guarantee that's not going to fall on a package though. So let's go ahead and pop this open. Oh, that's pretty stinking cool. Check that out. That's really awesome. And then you have the little insert in here too. Like the helicopter when you fly in along with the spaceship. A Bobo not like intruders. I'm gonna beat you up. Mongo just pawning game of life. All right, this is a really beautiful looking cartridge. Look at that. Now, looking at the box art here, I was a little concerned that maybe they had sent me the Super Famicom version, but this is the Super NES version. Very nice. Now, one thing here too is it just has the single strip of pins. Some games had the two outer ones. This is just the single that's in there. It does have important, do not turn the power switch on and off rapidly. Do not clean the edge connector with your fingers. Do not clean with benzene, thinner, alcohol, or other such solvents. Alcohol is just fine. I love the kind of embossed look of that label too. The Double Dragons really pops and actually has a texture to it. And then you do also have the Battletoads and Double Dragon here underneath. You have a full color manual. Oh, that's cool too. The Double Dragons along with the Battletoads logo. See the instruction manual here. And then you have the Ultimate Team where it kind of gives you the story here. Some of the early artwork and whatnot. Pretty cool. Control the action kind of gives you the control scheme as well. So the score 1 player, 2 players, A and B. So A heroes can hit one another. Player B heroes cannot hit one another. So it depends on which way you want to be. Do you want to be a jerk or do you want to be helpful? Watch you through the character profiles in here. The Double Dragon twins, Bimmy and Jimmy. The items that you can pick up. Speeder bikes. The different stages. And more. So let's go ahead. Let's throw this in our Super NES. And let's see how this plays. So one of the things I often get asked to test, and I always forget to check it, is whether or not the Game Genie works with some of these reproductions or re-releases of games. So as you can see here, it loaded up. Let us start on level 2 with 11 lives. So it is, let's see here, start with 10 lives, start with 2 lives. Enemies have less, I like that one too. Enemies have less energy, so we're going to do that. Okay, so that's the first one. That's enemies have less energy. And now we're going to start with 10 lives. So let's go to D. So let's see if the Game Genie actually did what it was supposed to do. It sounds great. It sounds spot on. And there you can see the 2023 trademark. Let's see. There's 1 player. And we're going to start off as Pimple. I will say that this initially at least looks and sounds pretty spot on. Now, one thing, if I remember right, and it's been a while since I played the Super NES version of this, is I do think that the hitbox, the hit detection, you actually have to be further away. If you're too close, the enemy just goes ahead and like you punch through them. Now, I will say we do have more lives, and yeah, that enemy died a whole lot quicker than normal. It was only 2 hits. So I would say Game Genie is spot on this. Good to know that that works. Perfect example there again, like I mentioned, where the hit detection, you have to be further away. And once you get hit, it takes a bit for you to kind of be able to break free. Now, one thing I did forget to mention is I am actually using Retrobit's own Legacy 16 wireless controller, which you can see right here. And what I like about it, it's shaped very much like the original Super NES controller. It is wireless. They've taken a couple liberties with the overall design. It does have concave and convex buttons, which I absolutely love. Great controller. If you want to check out our review of this, I'll have it for you in the upper corner right now. There you go. And I am using the D-pad on this. There's the analog stick. D-pad, no issues with it whatsoever. Oof, got too close to him. There we go. Did he die that quickly? 1-hit death? That's awesome. That's fantastic. So yes, I would say very much the Game Genie codes work on this. We'll try one more level here. And again, I think that the overall look and sound and design of this is just great. I love when the bullhorns come out, when the toads go ahead and do their rushing attack. And the key to this, just like in the NES version, got to bounce it back in. Single hit death. That's phenomenal. That's so good. Now, on this as well... Oh, where'd my toad go? Well, that's a graphical glitch right there. All I can do is I can just hit buttons and see what happens. I'm gonna try to just die here and see if that brings me back. No. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm actually gonna reset this game, and I'm gonna try it without the Game Genie and come back here and see what we got. Yep, it was completely an issue with the Game Genie, I would say. No, I can't get it. Dang it. But, I mean, I absolutely love the audio on this. I think it sounds great. I also think that it just looks good, too. I mean, that's the other thing. Now, this was, you know, I think a later release originally on the Super Nintendo, so the fact that it looks this good, you know, makes sense. Nice, good, big sprite work and everything. The facial design on Billy and Jimmy, not the most detail, but that's how the original was too. So they've done a very good job of recreating what the original was like. So what do I think of this overall? So like I say, I do think that it looks great and it sounds great. It's still hard as nails, so there is that. I wasn't expecting anything less. It's weird that it did have that Game Genie kind of glitch and everything. Get off of me! It's one of those where I just wish I could use cheat codes on it, because this is a dang hard game. Not gonna mince words about it. But overall, I think that if you are a fan of the original on the Super Nintendo, this is pretty much everything that game was, with just the additions to the splash screen and whatnot. The fact that you both have, or still have, both 1 and 2 player modes is a great thing too. And then the option to have, if you are playing 2-player, basically be able to hurt your player that you're playing with versus, you know, no damage is a nice little tweak to have on there. I don't remember if the original had that or not. Now, I was never very good at this part of the game myself. and the turbo tunnels on Battletoads, I was absolutely terrible against. Now, one thing I have found on this is kind of like in the rest of the game, you got to hit before you can get hit, and you throw your kicks and whatnot well before you would think that you would, because otherwise you wind up like that, and it's a one-hit death, which sucks. But it's one of those where, quite honestly, if you let yourself get hit first, you're kind of screwed, and you're going to take all of the hits and then get killed because it's a one-hit death. But look at how far his foot is away from the enemy there to be able to make contact with him, and I just died again. You dirty rat, you jumped on my head. And that is going to do it for us. So let's go ahead. It's time for some final thoughts. So what do I think about Battletoads Double Dragon from Retrobit for the Super Nintendo? Well, it plays almost identically to what the original was. It does work with the Game Genie, although we did run into that glitch that we saw. It's still hard as nails. It's a great sounding game, great looking game, great playing game, and something if you are looking for a great beat 'em up for the Super Nintendo, I can't recommend this highly enough. Now, these were a pre-order sort of situation, but those stores that carry Retrobit products will be getting a limited quantity in here. That reminds me, there was no certificate of authenticity. There was no serial number or anything like that. So interesting difference on this versus some of their earlier releases. I do wish that it had some more of that stuff that other releases from Retrobit had. Even the Double Dragon Battletoads for the NES came with, it came with the stand for the cartridge and everything. It actually came with a transparent green cartridge, where this, it's the green cartridge, but aesthetically, I actually like the looks of this cartridge better. I didn't notice until just now that this does not have that kind of textured, embossed logo for the Double Dragon like this cartridge does, which it is nice. But this also came with, the game stand, a couple other things too, where this did not have that. I do wish that had that in there. Now, if you do want to pick one of these up, I will have a link down below in a pinned comment to Rondo Products, formerly CastlemaniaGames.com. Just went through a rebranding, same people, same staff, same products, just a different brand name now. It's Rondo versus Castlemania Games. He does have a limited number of these available for order, or will have them available for open order once he gets his stock and everything checked in. Now, if you do want to use promo code ROCKSOLID10, it'll save you 10% off of most items on the website. Don't think this will be eligible, but you can always try it and make sure you check out all the different stuff that he has on the site. I believe he carries the Legacy 16 controllers. He carries the HD Retrovision cables, which is what we have our system hooked up here going through a RetroTink 5X. And then again, this is modded with Voltar's RGB mod designed for the Super NES Junior. And man, I love the way this looks. I love the way it sounds. Voltar does great stuff. Make sure you check out his stuff as well. Speaking about checking out other things, if you want to check out our review of the NES version of this cartridge in this game, which is also tough, it's beautiful, and it plays great, I'll have that link for you right here. So that way, regardless if you've got an NES or Super NES, there's a version of Battletoads Double Dragon that you can go ahead and check out.